Welcome back, guys. I've never seen a video on the topic I'm about to talk about, so I'm going to make one myself, and maybe there's some other good videos out there I just haven't seen. But the topic is, does it make sense to increase the red line on a Harley, specifically a Sportster, maybe a dyno? Well, we can talk about touring bikes too. The example here is a Hammer 1275 Sportster Roadster. This bike has basically stock heads, but it's got the Impact 560 cams, which gives it a little bit higher revving power curve. So the stock bikes rev out to 6,000 RPM. You can actually see the red line on the tachometer there. And the way the cams are set up, the stock W Sportster cams, they're a great cam, honestly. They really do super well for what they are. And the bike just makes super linear power right up to 6,000. I would say from about 2,500 to 6,000, you've got a good chunk of power you can play around in and have fun with. With the 560 cams, it basically moves, well, a couple things. The 1275 kit, because of the added compression and the little bit of size, gives you about the same stock amount of power no matter what at any RPM or more, right? So you don't lose much. However, the real meat of the power band's now 33 to 3,200, but all the way to 7. So you've gained this extra RPM. So when your buddy next to you is shifting, you're still in that throttle, pulling another 1,000 RPM, banging the next gear. Now, that's a pretty big change. Now, obviously in cars, like this Camaro, for example, people will slide a cam in this and rev it to 7 grand. This revs to like 6,200. So this is not uncommon for vehicles to increase their performance by increasing their RPM. But will it actually hold up to it? Well, yes and no, and here's why I say that. So the lower end of this engine's practically bulletproof, and it'll hold up to almost anything. So that's not even a really discussion. You really want to do this. The oil pump in these, the 04 to 06 bikes, or actually anything older than that, is not quite as good as the 07 up bikes. They're a higher volume pump. So I highly recommend that you get the 07 up pump while you're got that apart anyway. Replace that pump. It's not inexpensive. Unfortunately, it's 200 something bucks. So you're going to scoff a little bit at me saying that. But do it, because my pump failed and I almost blew the motor. That's a whole separate story. Luckily I didn't. It's fine. But I would recommend that. So, little tangent there. But yeah, so the performance level of this thing, it completely changes the characteristic of the bike. So when it revs to only 6, these are fun bikes. They're a good time. I love a stock Sportster. I'll never not love a stock Sportster. I'll ride one every freaking day. I'm perfectly happy. But let me tell you what, when you get from that 6 to 7 range, it goes from a fun, burbly Harley experience to a like pseudo naked bike MTO7, MTO9-esque experience. Like it just changes the characteristics of the bike, which some people may say for the worse, to be honest, but I think it's for the better. And the thing just hits like a different mode. It almost sounds like a Can-Am four-wheeler or something. It just has like a different bark and a different bite to it. And it obviously helps you go quite a bit faster than just having the 6,000 RPM. With a passenger, honestly, I think the cam revs just high enough and is just a little bit dead zoned in the low end to a point where it's probably just a tiny, tiny bit worse with a passenger than stock. Or at least, not that it's actually worse from a pure acceleration perspective, but it feels worse because it's so dead down low in comparison to the higher RPMs, whereas a stock bike is more similar at, say, 2,500 to what it is at 6, versus mine is like kind of dead zone at 2,500, but then is a rocket ship at 6 to 7 kind of thing. So it's not that you don't have the power, you just feel like you have less power because you have more power above it, if that makes sense. So that's something to consider. It doesn't bother me all that much at all. I can just lower the gear, Okay, take another gear out of it, but that's beside the point. Something to consider. If you are going to ride a Sportster 2-up all the time, well, then you probably wouldn't want to put a higher revving cam in it, because then the lower end torque is really your best friend. Especially if you're not trying to drive it around like a rocket ship with your girlfriend or wife on the back, which I kind of would hope you're not trying to do that, but to each their own. So something to consider there. Now let's go out of Sportster world into like dyno world. This will be real quick because I think I would say almost the same stuff for a dyno. The lower ends are a little bit less solid on a dyno, but they can hold up to the higher RPMs for the most part. There's different mods you can do, of course, and stuff like that as well. And, you know, we can make that work. So dyno is a very similar bike to this size-wise. You're going to probably use it for a similar application, et cetera, et cetera. So I think all the same things would hold true. The only thing I will say is because you've got more cubic inch to work with on a dyno, regardless of what model year it is, even an FXR, you've got a little bit more cubic inch to work with. I think you'll get a little bit more low-end torque despite the higher RPMs. So you can probably get away with the higher revving cam and maintain a lower-end power better. Another thing, if we're going into touring bike mode, I would say this is where you might want to steer away from it unless you're just building a hot rod bagger, because you're going to presumably be using that bike for a passenger relatively often, and the bike itself is very heavy, in which case that lower end torque can be nice for getting the thing moving and, you know, just giving yourself a smoother, better riding experience. Again, if you're trying to build like a sport bagger, you know, a performance bagger, well, then you might not care. But that's where you can play around also with the engine size. So if given the opportunity, right, you could say let's say you have a 96 cubic inch big twin, all right? And you take the 96 cubic inch big twin and you just do a high revving cam and get whatever, 110 horsepower, let's just say, whatever the number is. That's one way to do it, but then you're going to lose some torque. If you then said, okay, I'm going to spend a little extra money, I'm going to turn that 96 into a whatever the stroker version of that is, 107. I think it'd be like a 107 or whatever it would be. Let's say you turn it into a 107. Then now you could rev to only 6,000 RPM, make, say, that 110 horsepower, but then you're going to make more torque. I'm just throwing random numbers out there. Don't get hung up on that. But that's the thing, right? You can kind of pick and choose if you want that power band, you know, the total quantity of power, right? Say 110 horsepower, and then kind of where you want that to start coming into effect and where the torque band lies within that. So something to consider. It's all just a matter of how much money you're willing to spend. Sliding cams into the engine's relatively cheap. Doing big bore kits and doing stroker kits is not relatively cheap. It's relatively expensive. So you just got to kind of pony it up for that if that's what you want. But it may give you a benefit that is worth the cost. So that's kind of where I'm at. As always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.